A crime so heinous it focused international media attention on a small town outside of Cape Town. The small town of Bredasdorp was thrust into the spotlight when Anene Booysen was raped, mutilated and left for dead. She died in hospital shortly after. She was only 17 years old. At first, the community was shocked and called for the death penalty for the people who committed this act. Months later, in the Swellendam Circuit Court, this man, Johannes Kana, was found guilty of Booysen's rape and murder and handed a double life sentence. He never testified, and neither the court nor the wider community ever heard his version of what happened the night Anene was attacked. Months after the crime, it seemed that some community members were almost indifferent to Anene's rape.
Hy pleit skuldig want hy het haar verkrag. Hy het seks met haar gehad, maar hy het haar vermoor. Sy het 'n fighting spirit gehad. Ek kan dit nie glo dat hy so kort klein mannetjie laat hy dit kan gedoen het. Een mens alleen.
Hulle kan hy maar liewer sy naam verkrag het, maar nie doodgemaak het nie. Van hoe kan hy nou die route uithaal en so?
Professor Jane Bennett from the University of Cape Town believes this is a likely product of a community deeply traumatized by the high incidence of gender violence.
If I listened to people who were shocked rather by a murder than by a rape, I would know that the frequency with which misogyny and domestic violence and child abuse and the lack of being valued as a woman were prevalent in that context was deep. It was a deep frequency. And the only protection against it, which is a minimal protection, is class. It's not a whole protection. Wealthy people suffer domestic abuse, sexual abuse as children, and rape. Of course they do. But the vulnerability of resourcelessness deepens that frequency. You can hear it. It's everywhere.
In many ways, Bennett's description of life in such a community reflects Anene's reality. Poor and vulnerable, the attack that finally claimed her young life was not the first she had to endure.
According to the file information that we have at our office, it was a family dynamic that was characterized by a misuse of alcohol and drugs and domestic violence. And if I remember correctly, the circumstances was very poor, and that was the reasons why they were removed, because of domestic violence.
Rape, the interests of rape, they're certainly targeted through gendering women into spaces of vulnerability and terror. But the overall effect is to render a nation about 1/10 of its potential for dynamism, for creativity, for love. We hear about Anene Booysen, and none of us want to look at each other in the face. What is that? What is that?